We get some more information on the future of Xbox, as well as some interesting features coming to the Halo Infinite multiplayer. So when it comes to Xbox Game Pass, there are still people out there that think that it is a service that is mainly for online games, games as a service, multiplayer games. And although that is a category within Xbox Game Pass that has a bunch of great content, that couldn't be really further from the fact, because if you go through the catalog of games, there are lots of single player games, there are lots of indie games, and just random niche games that wouldn't be considered a game that could potentially do well for a long period of time on Xbox Game Pass. We know that Xbox is trying to increase their portfolio, trying to make it more diverse and bring anything over to Game Pass. We've seen indie developers talk about how Game Pass has been a great avenue for them because it allows people to discover their games that would have never discovered it before. And Phil Spencer talked about single player narrative driven games and how Xbox right now has more narrative driven games in the works than they've ever had before. So Phil Spencer being asked about the traditional forms of narrative games coming to the Xbox Series X and S and the Xbox ecosystem, and here's what he says: I think we're probably building more of those now than we've been in the history of Xbox. Platform holders, whether the platform is subscription or a hardware device or a store, are actively investing in new and probably more risky things, because if it works, we get value out of bringing players into the ecosystem. So he says two great things here. One, obviously, that they're building more narrative driven games than ever in the history of Xbox. So whether you're somebody who loves the big multiplayer style stuff or you're somebody who's looking for the narrative stuff, you're going to have the best of both worlds when it comes to Xbox Game Pass. And then secondly, what he says here, which I find really awesome to hear, is them investing in risky things, knowing that if they pay off, they're going to have more success than they would have if they just continue to put out the same stuff. And this is what we see from their Xbox Game Studios first party games. I can think of a couple risky games that have paid off already for Microsoft, and then there's the one that hasn't. So Sea of Thieves has definitely paid off. It's one of the most popular games out there. Grounded, I believe, is paying off. I think the game is doing decently well. And then we have Bleeding Edge, which a game in reality looks like it has failed and that it is not going to succeed based off of what Ninja Theory was trying to do with it. It was a very different game. It was definitely a risky game, and it was a creative game as well, but they're not always going to succeed. But we can see that Microsoft is allowing their studios to take those risks, to put stuff out there that may just become a big hit. Now, in terms of talking about the narrative driven games, so we take a quick look of just some of the stuff that is coming out soon, coming out years down the road, we can easily see that Xbox has a very diverse lineup of games, either narrative driven or multiplayer. So just in terms of the narrative stuff, the Halo Infinite campaign, Psychonauts 2, the Wastelands series, Project Mara, Hellblade, Outer Worlds, the Gears of War single player stuff, the Sea of Thieves update with the Pirates of the Caribbean, all of the Bethesda games are going to have great stories. Deathloop, I believe Redfall is even pushing a single player narrative in like the way that the game is made up, even though you are going to be able to play this game with multiple people. Ghostwire Tokyo, PlayStation 5 launch exclusive, timed, obviously, and then it's going to be coming out onto Xbox Game Pass. Indiana Jones, Wolfenstein 3. So there is a ton of stuff here, and what it really shows is just like the diversity within the Xbox Game Studios lineup, in that as these developers start putting out games on a consistent basis, we're going to have so much selection of what we want to play, whether that's single player, whether that's multiplayer, whether that's like games as a service, a looter shooter, an MMO, and just stuff like that. Now, what else is very cool that I believe will be coming up later, but I can't wait for it to finally be available within the Xbox ecosystem, is using the xCloud technology to allow people to try games out before actually having to download them. That's exciting because a lot of the time you are going to be downloading stuff. It takes maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour. You try it out, you dislike it, and you just wasted all that time. But with xCloud, if you're going to be able to instantly try a demo, try a preview game, try a game that is in an alpha or beta state, and see if you like it before putting any more of your time into it through the xCloud technology, that will be a big advantage going forward. And not only that, you're going to be able to eventually do this on any device. So let's say you're on the bus ride home from work or something, and you want to quickly just try a game before you get home to see if you want to spend your night playing that game. you're going to be able to just launch it on your phone through xCloud, try it out, and then you're going to be able to determine whether you want to download it and play it once you get home on your Xbox or your PC. And then finally, two other things he touched on here that I think are awesome and also very important and good to hear is that they are going to be building more games around the scripting and the ability to add to the game. So just more creative suites and games like we see in Halo with Halo Forge. In Forza Horizon 5, they have added the ability to design challenges and obstacles for courses. So I'm thinking we're going to see a lot more of this stuff coming to Xbox Game Studios games where you're going to be able to add mods. You're going to be able to build your own stuff. We know Bethesda has been pretty big on mods in the past in their games, and I think that all of that stuff is going to be coming over to their future games. And when it comes to game development, there's no single overriding approach, which is very great to see. And by this, they mean they don't force every single game to have DLC, to have season pass, to have microtransactions or any of that stuff within a game. It's really up to the developer. So this is all great stuff. It gives us more insight on the future of Xbox. And I think in general, it just gives us a look at how good the subscription service can be, how good the subscription model can be for the consumer, especially if they're doing things not pushing season passes, DLC, or a bunch of other stuff that you're gonna have to spend more money on in the future. And the fact that they are looking to utilize xCloud to allow you to try games out before you have to download them. I think that's a huge thing, and I can't wait for that function to eventually come over. Now moving on here to Halo's Infinite's multiplayer. So we got some more information about Halo Infinite multiplayer, and I think there's two things that are very exciting if you are a Halo fan. The first one is that in Halo Infinite's multiplayer, it will incorporate iconic campaign moments. 343 Industries did an employee spotlight, and they spoke with the multiplayer designer Andrew Witz, and here's what he says. I think that they will really latch onto how much multiplayer feels like a celebration of Halo all up. We've done a lot of things to bring iconic Halo campaign moments into multiplayer. When we were designing anything, we were asking ourselves how this could be a treat for people who know Halo's history. An example, in the big team battle, we have weapon pods that fall from the sky, just like the Halo 2 mission Delta Halo. There are tons of references to past Halos, including how we go inside the player's helmet in the match intro, like the opening cutscene from Halo CE, to the designs for Eagle and Cobra teams logos like past Halos, to maintaining certain design language for our game mode objects, like the flag has a skull on top and the oddball is the sci-fi skull from Hell. So this is great to hear. I mean, Halo Infinite is going to be that game that is going to sum up all of the Halos into one massive game. And obviously with the free-to-play multiplayer, more people are going to be jumping in than ever when it first launches, and you're going to be able to see stuff from Halo games that you have loved throughout its history. And if you're somebody new to the game, you're gonna kind of get a history lesson on some of the best, most iconic Halo campaign moments, which is very cool. I think Halo Infinite is just going to be a game they continue to add to for years and years to come. We may not even see another Halo after this. It may always just be Halo Infinite, and then they add more content and they continue to make it an amazing game. And what else is very interesting about the multiplayer is they are going to be adding a new ping system that makes it easier to communicate. So it says here, my team also gets to work on awesome multiplayer systems like weapon spawners, voice over messaging systems such as classic Halo announcer, and new personal AI, and the mark system, which is a feature where players can mark a spot in the world that lets their teammates know vital information like an enemy position or weapon location. This is great to see because when Apex Legends came out, it really revolutionized, in my opinion, the ping system. It's by far the best ping system in a multiplayer game, and it works really well even if you don't have a mic. You don't need to have a mic with playing Apex because of how good the ping system works. Now, obviously, mics are preferable when you're playing a multiplayer game, especially when you're playing a game like Halo, but not everyone likes to talk in a mic, and with a great ping system you can get around that and still be successful as a team. So I'm very happy to see that they are adding this new ping system to the multiplayer. Anyways guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. Let me know what you think about Phil Spencer's comments on the future of Xbox. Let me know what you think about the new Halo Infinite multiplayer features that are coming. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here, you found this entertaining and informative, I'd really appreciate you hitting that subscribe button to help this channel grow and help grow this community so we can have great conversations in the comments below. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video.